Hello and welcome back to Name Not Found, and apparently I'm doing a solo show today because I can't seem to get the attention of my co-host, Colin. Hello?
Hey, Chris. How's it going? What's going on? What's up?
How you doing right now, buddy?
I'm good. I'm totally paying attention to the podcast we're recording right now. I'm not doing anything else that it would be portable and game-like.
Oh, yeah. Totally not. You wouldn't be playing a certain Zelda game or anything, would you?
No. I like to say that I've played it nonstop since we last spoke would be totally, inaccurate. I mean, it's just not, it doesn't make any, I have a job, I couldn't be doing that.
Fantastic. This bit brought to you by the Nintendo Switch. Pick it up in any store near you, particularly GameStar and Walmart. That is not how you pronounce those two things. Moving on.
So, GameStart is obviously the new startup that Chris and I are working on. It's a large box store where you can pick up games.
This is where Chris tried to be clever and you just fucked it up. Go on.
So, welcome everybody to Name Not Found. Today's episode is Colin Not Found because he's lost in Breath of the Wild. So we'd definitely be remiss by not talking about Nintendo's newest installment in the Zelda franchise on their new system, the Nintendo Switch, which I've been playing a lot of. So
let's start with the overall view here. Okay, overall view because I do not have a Switch. Okay, and I wish I did at the moment, but please go ahead, give me your overall view of this thing.
Okay, so the biggest thing that I noticed right out of the gate of Breath of the Wild is it's a very atmospheric game. Zelda games are known for their music. I mean, it's some of the most famous music ever. I mean, you can look back to, the 3D era with Soraya's song, the Song of Storms, Koji Kondo's unbelievable score, Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, what have you. This game is not very music focused. It is very focused on its ambient noise. So the game itself is very reminiscent of an open world game. I think, in terms of its tone, it's definitely about that. And I love it. I'm really loving this game. But what I think I noticed the most is it is the least Zelda I've ever played in terms of it does not follow your normal formula where it's wake up. Whoa, no, you're Link. Maybe you have a thing and you get a sword. Great. You've got your little sword. It's not quite the Master Sword yet, but it will be soon. But it doesn't break. You go to your dungeon. It's the first thing you do. And it's a pretty set path. Like, you can't really venture off. In this game, you have a tutorial area that you sort of can do, any of the things in the tutorial area whenever you want. But then afterwards, you can literally run to the end of the game. I tried. I got shot by a giant robot spider monster by a laser beam to the face. And I was like, okay.
Maybe
I shouldn't. Yeah, of course. That's a Tuesday. It was, actually Thursday. It's like a Thursday. But, so I decided to go somewhere else and I ended up in a jungle and it was raining and there was lightning and I had to take off my, steel armor because I got shocked by lightning and I didn't realize that. And the game itself is just massive. There are tons of little mini trials called shrines that are scattered all throughout the world that act as your waypoints. And the game itself is, graphically, it's no Horizon Zero Dawn. That game is, Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely the most beautiful game out right now.
Well, the thing I noticed is it kind of took a page. It's more like the graphical style that I saw. It was more like an updated Wind Waker, like more realistic Wind Waker fashion, because they went like kind of cel shady. I noticed when enemies die, they do have that puff of smoke that comes out with it. And so there's a lot of touches, but in my mind, that's a good thing. I think Wind Waker was one of the most beautiful Zeldas they did. So it's really cool, but it definitely is a more realistic version because Wind Waker was more cartoony, but that's definitely, it's definitely gorgeous. I did manage to watch a few people play it, and I will say, it's fucking gorgeous.
I think obviously it's certainly gorgeous. I think the styles that it draws from is Wind Waker, and then a little bit of Skyward Sword in the character design. You're seeing the Rito, who are the bird people who you did see first introduced in Wind Waker, but reimagined in Skyward Sword as well. So I think it's sort of your progression from the in-between of Wind Waker, Twilight, and Skyward, and really taking that art style and sort of coming into its own. And I really think it meshes well.
Right.
But one thing I will say that I really love about this game, and I think this game does really well, is the way its systems interact. And what I mean by that is the way that you interact with the world and how the rules stay the same.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you're facing a problem, let's say it's a really tough enemy, you don't have to take it down in the normal Zelda way, which is, oh man, this thing has a big sheet of armor all over it, better hook shot him so that he comes and his armor comes off so I can slash him with my sword. You can do anything. You could throw a bomb to like maybe break off the armor. You could light a barrel on fire, freeze it with your stasis, and then throw it at an enemy. Enemies throw, if an enemies are in an encampment and you take their weapons, they throw rocks, barrels, and other enemies at you. You know, yeah, I'm serious, like they find whatever to like attack you. But there's so many different ways to deal with an encounter. You can sneak up on enemies to do a sneak attack. You have a stealth stat, so you can sneak up there. One thing they drew from Twilight Princess is their armor system. Is probably the most direct way to increase your abilities. There are no stats in this game. The only thing you get as sort of general upgrades is you can choose between a stamina upgrade, which is used for everything. Climbing, running, flying, all of that, and health. Stamina seems to be the most useful. I've literally put everything into stamina and just used the cooking system to make health. The cooking system is also really robust, and it has like the best jingle ever. It's and Link does this little thing whenever he cooks, where he's like, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, It's like he's just like humming along. He's like, and it's the most adorable thing. You're like, oh, Link, he's so cute. But that's the thing about this game is it's I've barely touched on the surface, and I could go for a while. I think the big points is it's taken a lot of really good things that other games have done. I think the biggest influences are Assassin's Creed and the Ubisoft open world games. There are towers in this game, but instead of cluttering the map, you have to find everything yourself. And you have to use vision and like place things on the map so that it's not like Grand Theft Auto where you're just like, oh, look, I've got like a gun shop here and all of this. And you don't even look at the map, you're looking at the mini map.
Yeah.
This is all about like the only maps you get, it's just geography. It's just like, okay, so I see that there's a mountain and a lake here, so maybe it's over here, and then you can mark it yourself, which is cool. They took from Dark Souls in terms of the combat is unforgiving. You can go into an area where you're not supposed to be, and you just get one shot. And you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't go be here, or be really careful when I am here.
Yeah.
Took a lot from, in my opinion, circuitous, like drawn out storytelling. I mean, Dark Souls does this, but in terms of like memory based things, that's very much again Assassin's Creed. There are memories in the game which tell the bulk of the story through cutscenes, because Link isn't this hero in this game. Like he is, but you know, at the risk of spoilers, you find this out relatively early, but the whole point of why you're waking up 100 years later is you tried to kill Ganon and you failed. And so they had to put you in stasis, and you got to go do it again. So it's a very interesting take, and I love it. I love it to death. I'm really interested to see how the end game plays out. I'm still not very far. I've just been exploring everywhere.
As I expected you to be. I didn't expect you to finish. I expected like he's gonna wander around in a field for a week straight. Yeah, makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that also threw me off about this game is how many ways Link can die. I think specifically, just today, I drowned. I got shocked by an electric jelly on top of a cliff, fell off a cliff, and fell 50 feet on the sand and died. I went to an island where they took all your equipment, and so you were running around as naked Link, and I threw a bomb to blow something up that was that could help me, but I was impatient, so I blew myself up and flew myself like a ragdoll into a pot. I tried to attach Octorok balloons to a steel door so I could fly, but they popped, and so I fell. I died in so many different ways, and I think this really actually brings us in nicely to our first big topic for the day. So I know we were talking about this off the podcast, but there has been a really interesting study that we read about in Nature World News. And so the article reads that violent video games won't make you less empathetic or more aggressive. And now, specifically, this study was run in the Journal of Frontiers in Psychology.
Okay.
And the lead researcher was Dr. Gregor Cizik of the Hanover Medical School. And basically, they took a reasonably sized sample size who played violent video games like first-person shooters, specifically mentioned are Call of Duty and Counter-Strike, 4 hours a day for 4 years. Very, very serious gamers, like consistent gamers. They make it very clear that these people, game quite a bit. And they did MRI functionality, tested, with all of their, brainwaves and all of this stuff. I wish it's an fMRI. I know it's slightly different. And so, we'll link it in the description, the article.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, there was no effect, and if there was an effect on sort of hyper-aggressiveness or, more aggressive behavior or less empathy, it was very short-lived and wore off almost immediately after finishing the play cycle. So, do we want to go back in time to the year 1999 during the video game scare so we can tell everybody to collectively fuck themselves? Because that's what I want to do.
Yes. God. Okay, so for the, just so we clarify, I did look up fMRI. It's obviously a version of an MRI that uses neuroimaging that measures blood flow for brain activity. So just so people they don't have to go looking that up left and right. Because you said that word and I went, the fuck does that mean? I want to be a smart person.
I know, and we're totally experts and would know exactly.
Oh yeah, I am a scientist. Yes, I wear a lab coat. Don't question me.
Me too. Don't
look at the fact that I don't have pants. Moving on. So as far as this topic goes, this is this was I love you bring this up because this was the topic of like college theses of mine and stuff like that. This topic is inherently fascinating to me, both from a media perspective, it being a hot button topic for people to constantly touch on. I always go back to a personal memory. I don't know if you remember this, remember you and I used to play GoldenEye a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the bad timing of GoldenEye is about 2 months after that game came out, Columbine happened. And I don't even think it was 2 months. I think it was like 2-3 weeks or something like that. And, literally schools started sending out, asking parents to take that game away from kids because they believed it caused violence. And that, in my mind, right around there, Columbine was the beginning of all this. It was the beginning of all this craziness. I know there were other smaller incidents, but that was, the big one. For me, and to play devil's advocate, there is a part of me. Before I go into this, I will state I don't believe in any way that they cause violence. I think on a younger mind, and when I say young, I'm talking about I don't think an 8-year-old should be playing Grand Theft Auto, but that's up to the parent, and that's the parent's choice. I personally don't believe it, because I believe that it's not a violence thing, it's a sensitivity thing, it's also a sorry, I'm losing the word here, a desensitization thing. Because it's not just the violence, it's just willy-nilly, I think that this is okay. And I know I'm kind of flipping back and forth, but I personally believe that it is up to the parent. If I was a parent, I don't know if I would. But I do understand the fear, but I remember being that kid not getting why, you shouldn't play those, it's too violent, there's blood involved. I'm like, who cares? I know, because my parents sat me down, and were like, you know that this is not real, right? And I said, yeah, why are you asking me this question? This is obviously not real. Because, although it was easier for us, because GoldenEye was polygonal, diamonds smacking the shit out of each other with karate chops,
The only reason it got that much bad press because it was so positive. I mean, the only thing I remember about that game was Huck.
Yeah, exactly. You know what it was
totally
though?
Realistic.
It was that I think that the turning point of that was when it got shot. When you got shot, blood would come down the screen. You remember that?
Well, they would do it. The irony of that is, and this actually brings up my point, is you were talking about writing in college. I wrote a paper, and I've never been that great of a writer, but the one paper I actually got into, I got it into a feature at the county college I went to before I transferred back into Rutgers University, and it was about why video games are art, and I went into this sort of idea of challenging the medium. So, for instance, when you look at that specific instance, that's literally the homage to the Bond.
Oh, absolutely.
The gun shake. But the problem is in the context of Columbine, you see a kid trying to shoot their friend in GoldenEye, but, you're looking at it in the context of these kids who shot all these other kids,
Yeah.
So, you can see the parallel there. But what's interesting is you also saw this with a lot of other mediums. I mean, Reservoir Dogs was banned in a lot of theaters because it was excessively violent. It was, non-remorseful about the violence. I mean, there's been plenty of movies and other forms of art because of their violence that have just, not been received very well. I mean, the Hostel, that's another great example. Remember how much in arms people got into about that, with the excessive violence there.
Well, I mean, if you look back in the ages of what was it in the 1960s? They started with comic books, man. They were burning them because they thought they caused they poisoned minds and caused violence because of the imagery, man. And that was Batman punching the Joker in the face, cartoony Joker, by the way. So not like Heath Ledger nonsense or Mark Hamill. We're talking cartoony. But. This is always as much as video games is a hot topic, and I'm sorry, I'll let you finish in a second. I just completely derailed you. I'm sorry, but
no, don't worry about it.
But the thing is that it completely, people think that it's video games is this huge thing. I'm no, it's not a new thing. I mean, like you said, movies have gotten into it. Television. I mean, look at the 80s. The 80s got under so much scrutiny for the procedural cop dramas and stuff that got really real. And was just so much imagery, and they always had stuff against it. Comic books, to this day, comic books still get crap left and right, man. But, this isn't a new thing, and I'd put it to you, with these examples, and video games as art, I do want to go into that, but why would you say that people have this fixation on an entertainment medium consistently causing violence when, again and again, there are these studies that prove this is not the case? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it is an easy target. You were talking before about parents. Parents gotta come in and, put what I like to call the context. Grand Theft Auto, if you look at it in the context, is actually an amazing way to look at satire of movies and our culture and the criminal justice system. And, there's been, so many things said about, they're doing it well and not well. Some would argue 4 did it the best. Some would argue 2 or 3. 5 was, I think, very beautiful and well done, but nobody could really talk about the social commentary there. Yeah. I think there was some, but, in a lot smaller amounts. I think it's a very simple target because you can point to one thing and say, hey, this isn't me not talking, paying attention, contextualizing, and engaging with my children. It's this thing. It's the outside. And, obviously we don't need to get into the other politics, but, the boogeyman argument is very prevalent. And I think that another really important thing too is when art, and we can have a whole other conversation at a later date, about video games and art and sort of where that works and doesn't work. When you look at the medium, a medium of art is trying to elicit a reaction. Sometimes it's joy, sometimes it's introspection, it's anger. Sometimes you want to be revolted by what you're seeing. Or, the dark little side is maybe you're a little excited. Maybe you're like, man, I really want John Wick to shoot that Russian guy because they killed his puppy, and I think vengeance is awesome. Or, I watched the movie. I did.
Of course.
I did.
Let's be real. A, Keanu Reeves. B, That puppy was fucking adorable. It was just like really
no, the minute that man killed that puppy, I'm like, oh, that motherfucker's gonna die. He better die.
I literally said when I was watching it, I was like, Theon, you done fucked up.
No. I'm sorry, Theon, you done fucked up again. Again. Like you never learn. Why do you play the guy that makes all the mistakes?
First the mill children, then John Wick's puppy. Come on, Theon. But I think that's pretty much it. And I think the big thing that's really interesting as well is I don't think we're ever really going to see this stop. I think we're going to see this even more prevalent with VR. What happens when we take away, because now it's pretty delineated. I have my system and I interface with it in a binary way. I sit with a controller and I look at a screen. I'm still in the room. I'm still there. But in a VR headset, you're kind of there.
Oh,
you're looking around and you can get physically sick just by moving. Now imagine when we get a little closer to you're pulling the trigger, you're swinging the sword. I think it gets a little bit more complicated then. Maybe this study done in the next 10 years with VR will be vastly different.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing that actually proves to that point, and why I play advocate sometimes is because of this new technology that comes out. So, you look at from GoldenEye to now, in this binary way, graphics have completely changed to almost real. They look like you're actually there on your screen, Now, VR is not there yet because it's way different. But you imagine 10 years from now, or even more, they can update it to 4K, HD, making it look like Horizon Zero Dawn, stuff like that, So, as you progressively get more and more weird, because right now VR is kind of in a safe zone. It's still kind of cartoony, it's still jarring, they have things to work on, and it will be that way in my mind for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it's still very arcadey. It hasn't breached that realism yet.
Absolutely, but when they breach that, and all it takes is one game. I'm telling you, just one game and one developer that's absolutely, and I guarantee you this developer will be crazy. He will be nuts, like legitimately nuts.
As long as he's, not as crazy as Hideo Kojima, I think we'll be okay. But if he's that crazy, we're in trouble. Maybe they're already out there.
Maybe it will be Hideo Kojima, which I fear.
Maybe. Oh my God, PTVR. Is Death Stranding going to be in VR?
Oh no!
It's coming out for the PlayStation. It could be in PSVR.
I don't think it will be. But I have a sneaking suspicion that someone like him will try to don a hat. I think not this generation of VR, but when they have the equivalent of a PS2 for VR, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. It's like PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo. This time it's personal. Whatever.
If that is the actual box, name for it, I will buy it. I will buy it just because of the box. But it is a very interesting idea that, okay, well, because you're right, we experience both movies, comic books, everything in a very binary way. It is a comic book, it's a book that I'm reading. A movie, It's something I'm experiencing and watching on the screen. In video games, it's almost like another level. So you're going from reading to watching it being read to you in a video format. Now you're playing the movie. Well, guess what? VR, now you're in it. You are in it. Now what it will do to the psyche, I gotta tell you, that is a little bit of a terrifying thing. That is something where I would personally believe, even as an avid gamer, that situation should be monitored. Should just be we need to make sure that this does not, I'm not saying it could cause violence, but you're talking about, if you take, PT, playing it on a screen is harrowing enough, but being in it could legitimately traumatize somebody, psychological standpoint. Well, I'm just saying because you're in it, and if you cannot create a way in VR to create a barrier between you are a player and this is reality, and you keep that hard V in the virtual reality, in the VR virtual reality, you need to make sure that you keep the line that this is virtual, because if they start going where they are now towards extreme realism in everything, which they're trying to do, which they have done with all newest titles on PS4 and Xbox One, and as Breath of the Wild and Switch comes along, they're getting into a more, they want you to feel like you're in the world. Well, the problem is you see it in a lot of the science fiction. What happens when people can no longer separate being in the world and being in this world? And that,
I think that's the question. I think, will it ever get to that point? Because let's be real. It very well could, and you could argue it's more than likely going to happen with the way technology is progressing, but it's not a guarantee.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very interesting that despite how incredible our ability to, create things as a society, think about like a movie, right? A movie is essentially replicating a moment that looks authentic and dramatic. And for you to replicate that moment, let's say you won a race, like somebody wins an Olympic race and they like documented, I think it was like, there was like an Owens movie, like a Jesse Owens movie, and they had to recreate that moment. It took hundreds of millions of dollars and a lot more time than the actual moment itself took. So I know that's a shit example.
No, I get the point.
I'm also burping because beer and also slightly under the weather. Apologies, but the point is that we're sort of like still not even at the point where we can accurately recreate very simple things. Like the human hand is still freaking impossible to like replicate. You're like, oh yeah, I can totally make a robot that replicates the human hand, and it's like, no, you can't. So, I think there's still a ways away for us to remove the fact of, like I'm in a VR headset. But if that does happen, I think we'd have to have another conversation. Like,
absolutely.
Who can use that? Or how does that affect our minds? I mean, hell, we still don't even know how constant cell phone use is affecting our minds.
Absolutely.
As I'm totally not checking my cell phone because I mentioned it.
Well, yeah, it's actually what is happening is actually there's sentient beings and they're slowly taking over our lives.
What?
Mike Zuckerberg is just a cell phone in a human body. Yeah.
Who told you that? is that Mark's brother Mike? Sorry, I just keep putting you on blast.
That's okay.
Well, I think that's
I hate myself.
I think the I think the listeners, nobody wants to see this. I think the listeners have had enough of us talking about, the history and potential of us getting,
so I would say, give me, like, your final, like, we're just on the VR and I kind of want to tail end it. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be like, okay, we're in this point, all right, where I feel like it's just something that you should, I don't think it could be an issue, but I think it's just something worth keeping an eye on, because it could get to that point.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's ever a case to be made where keeping an eye on something could be bad. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be over intrusive, but I think the big thing is with this topic is to always sort of remember that there's a lot of stuff that came before it. There was movies, they had to deal with it. TV, they had to deal with it. We had to deal with it. The big thing that would really be, I think, interesting to take a look at with games is you have to take the action. You have to press the button. And I think delineating that and making it very clear that it is you outside of that immersive experience pressing the button, making the choice. I think that's the most powerful thing about video games, and also the thing that has to be looked at the most. Because, in a movie you're watching somebody else shoot somebody. In a TV show you watch somebody else killing somebody. In a game you gotta press that trigger. You gotta aim and press that trigger. So that's, I think, the biggest thing. But I mean, where do you stand on that? Like, sort of the agency of games? I think.
I think when you're creating this experience, there's part of it. Yes, there is the thing to monitor it, and we talked about parental, watching, and I'm also talking about this can affect adults in a virtual world like this. This could be jarring. I have no idea. I would really love, personally, I know it's so difficult, to see one of those fMRIs with somebody wearing a VR headset.
Oh my god, that'd be so interesting.
It would be the most, I don't know how they would accomplish it because magnetics and all that stuff, but because science, because, that also sounds like the weirdest conspiracy thing, because, magnets and shit. But the, for me, I personally believe it's not just something that we as people should keep in mind. I think it's also, in a way, when you're moving into this realm of virtual reality, right? I don't ever want to hinder somebody's art, because I'm a very firm believer, and this is why I stand very firmly against video games causing violence. It's more of I do believe that a developer or a maker of a game should at least keep in mind the message and experience that they want to send. Now, yes, if you want to, there's a thing of like, there's a difference between you're just making this for gratuitous violence and if there's an extreme amount of violence for a purpose. And
exactly. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be context. It's like that game, Rage.
Yes.
That was such a big controversy because it wasn't because of the violence per se. There was
nothing else to it.
Exactly. There was nothing of value. That's why that game got a lot of hate, because it was unacceptable to have that level of violence if you don't back it up. Absolutely. If you don't back it up with substance, if you don't qualify it, it's not, it's just not fun. You're like, I don't want to see that.
Dude, I'll stop playing a game like that after like 10 minutes because I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm getting it. Like case in point, to this point, look, there is a lot of messed up shit in Resident Evil. Okay, a lot of it. In the new Resident Evil 7, and they have VR, and actually to counterpoint what I'm saying as well is that, people aren't exactly traumatized by it. I don't think it's completely there to the point that we're talking about, but at the same time, it has a point and a story and a message that it's sending, and it's doing this for a reason.
Yeah, it's doing it for a reason, and it is very clear that it is a game. It makes so many little nods and little asides, just like very, very subtly, where you're like, oh yeah, this is Resident Evil, and I'm super stoked. You know what I mean? Like, the shotgun room, the after Mia leaves, you're like, you have the very specific, like, dog's head puzzle. Like, that's so Resident Evil.
Absolutely.
They pull you from the immersion real quick to throw you back in moments.
But once again, I think that's up to the developer to understand that, and that I think it's almost going to become a building block of making a good VR game that doesn't hurt your audience, is that they need to provide elements, even if they're going for an intensely realistic view, that remind them it's like, you are playing a game. Okay, this is a story that we're telling you. It's almost just like,
Wait, Chris.
Yeah.
I have a business venture. So what we should do is we should be two little heads. Like, imagine like the Muppet, who were like the Muppet like shit talkers.
Oh my God.
Who just like sat above them. But in VR, periodically per the Chris and Colin Malay like agency bureau, it would just us come across the screen being like, hey there, you're playing a game there, Sonny. Also, you're pretty bad at it too. And then we just like phase off of the screen, so they'd be like, oh yeah, I guess I'm playing a game.
Yeah, exactly.
They would totally defeat the point of VR, pull them from the immersion.
Just straight fourth wall breaking nonsense,
But at least we don't get any Patrick Bateman's in American Psycho. So we avoid that.
Coming soon to VR. No, sorry, what?
So coming soon to VR is a break also.
Yes,
so,
we are going to wrap up. I will pose, just before we go to break, I will pose a question to our audience and listeners and people. Please, this isn't a plug, just, tell us what you think of the VR. We kind of wanted to really talk about this topic because we're both really interested in it, but we really are interested in hearing what you guys think, so feel free, I could say comments below, but you can tweet at me at Definitely Unstable. I think actually, by now I'm going to have a Twitter for the podcast. I'm going to just put it up on the screen right now because I need to make sure name not found is not taken on Twitter. I think it is, so we need to make sure we get that, but I'll put it up on the screen and tweet at us, and we would love to have a discussion about it. But we are going to have a quick break, and then when we come back, I think we're going to talk about a little bit of PAX East that was going on, right?
Yes, we are. We're going to have a little bit of a PAX East discussion, so look forward to that, and we'll see you in a few, everybody.
Hello! Here as always, Christopher Millay, giving you your marketing needs, and here at the break section of everything, I bring you our plugs, our Twitter, and non-stop fun. I don't know what I'm doing. I'd really like to thank you for listening. This is something that Colin and I have really, really grown to enjoy. We don't get to talk as much as we used to, and this has brought us an avenue that really we've just started to enjoy more than ever, and now I'm rambling and saying the same words over and over again. Just hurry up with the damn break, Chris. Okay, fine, I will. If you do enjoy the show, be sure to share it. We don't do any marketing for the show. We don't intend to. We really want to build a community that we can talk to and hear your responses and hear what you think about things. So if you enjoy it and you know people that would enjoy it, or just think, hey, listen to this because I think it's cool, be sure to share it, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, share our audio files on SoundCloud. And also, the new podcast, Twitter is up. It's at NNF Podcast on Twitter. I'll say that one more time. It's at NNF Podcast. Follow us there. You'll get episode updates, tweets from me and Colin, just, dicking around like we usually do. And you can follow me personally. I do YouTube on this channel. I have my own content that I put out along with my voiceover stuff. It's at Def Unstable on Twitter, and then you can follow Colin for all of his nonsense and craziness, which is at Heyimbadd with 2 Ds. So that's at Heyimbadd with 2 Ds, and you can just check in on them. We are going to keep this up to a weekly episode. We kind of decided it after last week because we really enjoy it. So the new schedule will be Saturdays, like you're listening to it every week. So we really hope you guys tune in and enjoy it. And if you want to talk to us, you want topics, you want us to talk about topics that you think are really cool, please send them over to our Twitter. Again, it's at NNF Podcast. Send it over there. We'll definitely talk about it. We'll mention you for sending it to us. So please send things our way. Give us discussion topics. We would love to hear from you. But I've gone on way too long at this point. I'm looking at the audio file, and honestly, I'm just hating myself at this moment. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you so much for listening.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Name Not Found. This is Colin. Today's episode is episode 2, Colin Not Found. So we're going to be talking about PAX East because it happened this weekend.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
You okay there?
I moved, just context. I used to live on the East Coast, for anyone who didn't know. Colin and I used to be, pretty much, 30 minutes from each other?
Yeah, not too far apart.
And then I moved up to California because I do voice acting and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it really is only down in here. But when you say PAX East, I started going, when I was 22. Yeah, when I was 22, and I went up until the last year before I left. So I've been going for 4 years. About 4 years now. And the fact that I couldn't go this year, oh my God, it hurt me so bad. It hurt me so bad. It's seeing the fact that we're talking about it now and I'm looking at the images, it's just, it hurts. It hurts me on the inside. It really does. No. I'm gonna cry right now. This is so bad. I don't know. Have you ever been to PAX East?
I have not. I've actually, the only big cons I've ever been to is I went to with you. We went to Comic-Con and we've been to Otakon, but I have yet to be to PAX. And so what I understand about PAX, I had a chance to go this year, unfortunately couldn't make it, is that it is the game equivalent of an anime con. And it's very similar setup. You've got your panels with your personalities, your businesses with their booths and their swag and all of that. But the general sense that I get is it's not the E3 big trailer release. It's more gamer focused.
It's 100%.
So you can play and interact with people. I mean, obviously it's fucking packed, so it's not as open as it used to be, but it's that same idea.
Yeah. PAX. One of the cool things I love about PAX is that it's way more community focused than in a lot of other cons. So we've been to San Diego Comic-Con. That is just a person, a giant mosh pit of sweaty people. And
I've never felt more like an insect in my entire life.
Oh yeah, just going through a hive, and it's just, Like, look, don't get me wrong, it was really cool. In my mind, would I continue to go? I don't know. You know, at San Diego Comic-Con, because I'm like, I went there, I did that, cool.
I feel like one is enough for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah. No, one is enough for tickets I'd pay for. If you want to send me there, feel free. But it's PAX is so much different because I have made friends at PAX. I have, there is a bar in Boston that we go to every time we go to PAX. It's called Biddy Early's. It's a hole in the wall, and it's not like big PAX Convention Center bar. This is where like some of the journalists go and all this stuff. And it's like we were looking for bars, and it was like, we went to one place that charged like $17 for a shot of whiskey, and which is no. And then we walked into this place, and they're like $7 pitchers of PBR, and I went yes, and thus became our favorite place. But that's it. But it wasn't about that. It was also because when we went there, it was full of PAX people, and everyone was just so like just wanting to hang out with everybody. Because when you go there, yes, there's cool games and they have cool stuff in there, but they also have like a section off the side, like an entire section of the convention hall that's dedicated to board games, and there's an open play area for you to just bring a board game and play. And then my cousin on my mom's side, not Colin's side, Phil and I, when we went, we brought Cards Against Humanity, and we sat down. It was literally just me and him with the box. 9 people just showed up, asked if they could play, and we just played with them. Like, you don't do, like, it's just weird how normally people that don't really go around and socialize, that much. Yeah, it really just, people open up and it becomes this ultimate, like almost a friendship convention. I hate to say it that weirdly, but that's what it feels like, because you see all this cool stuff, and you don't feel like it's pushed on you. You don't feel like it's, oh, look at our cool stuff. There's cool statues. There's all this stuff, but there's no, like they have rules against like booth babes. They have rules against stuff like that because they want people to enjoy their time here and not feel like they're being advertised to. It's more, they want, and I guess it's a way of advertising to make PAX East more pure for people that put out their games to get a more realistic feel of what gamers think of their game. And I think it's partly that. I also think it's really about the community, because I do think the Penny Arcade guys really do care about that, being gamers themselves and being that kind of in that social anxiety area, and they want to make it feel like a home for them. And they do a great job. But there's like the music shows and the, the, obviously, look, every con's about the free swag. Free swag is key. Okay. Free swag is awesome. Like, didn't we had an entire bed full of free swag at San Diego Comic-Con, didn't we? Like, we had an entire, like...
we had 2 beds worth, actually. We had the double bed, and then we had the full king filled with, like, I'm pretty sure I had, like, all of the swag I won from the Scream booth that I was doing for, like, it was some, like...
No, that Japanese, you got second place in, and it was totally rigged. It was totally rigged. It was so rigged. You screamed 100% louder than this other guy who got a higher score than you, and I was just like, what the
We were asking what the algorithm was. I remember specifically us going up to the person running the booth being like, what are you using? Is this decibel level? Because if you're looking at pure decibel level, obviously, like, we were...
He had no idea. It was just like, I just run this booth.
But, like, in terms of PAX, like, so obviously, like, that sounds like an unbelievable community experience, but I can imagine you're still looking to play games. So, like,
absolutely. Absolutely. As far as games go, like, there's, you get your big titles. My favorite thing, honestly, because as much as I love video games, I'm a huge board gamer. You know this. I'm a D&D player, board gamer. I love this stuff. And I love going there and looking at all this new people coming in and be like, check out this and all this stuff. And I've bought board games on a whim that I enjoy so much. Like that I had no idea when the guy, and like the creator of the game. And that's what's really cool. The creator of the game will be there and it's like, yeah, I made this thing and this is how it works. And this is all this thing. Like, we play tested a dude's game that he was doing for Kickstarter. And I have the copy here, and it's called Story War, and it's amazing. It's just basically putting down a monster, and then say you put down a monster, and then we have to debate on who would actually win in a fight, and it's great. But into that, I actually think one of the cooler things I get to see is like the indie stuff, because it's very cool. They have an alley, actually. They have, which I love about them. They have a specific section. It's not all over the place. They're like, no, we have, like Artists Alley, and they have like a lot of conventions where they have artists, and they have that too, but they also have literally a place where they pick like 50 indie game like companies, like big or small, and they put them in there, and a lot of them that they pick, why I love them is I don't believe that that you can pay to get in there, but they actually pick ones that they don't have to pay, like that they like, and they bring them in, like to just put them in a convention, which I love that they do that to expose things. And yes, I think you can buy space, but they actually pick, I think like 20 or something like that, which is great. And honestly, I mean, you sent some of the indie games that
I did.
So, and you were talking about this game called Brawlhalla, right? And I think I'm gonna put some of this this footage here on the screen. But for those of you watching on YouTube. But so tell me, obviously this is kind of a Smash homage, but tell me why it really stuck out to you. Was it just that, or is there also like kind of cool?
No, it was, I think, definitely to start that. So I actually heard about it. As I've always mentioned, I am a huge Smash fan. Shout out to Dave Nash, Beth Fox, NJ. Again, I was paid to say that.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have you spell those out for me later, because I'm just going to have them scrolling as donations paid for, sponsorship roles and stuff.
We'll check in on that. But so Brawlhalla is what is definitely a Super Smash deconstruction. But the idea is that there's this sort of emerging genre, and it's called a platform fighter. So we saw it first with a game called Rivals of Ether. That is a indie game as well, made in a similar style, a fan of Super Smash Bros. Melee. And what we're seeing now is we're seeing people who, have become such a fan of the competitive community that they're getting into the game space. They're getting older and getting more established, and they're creating games. So I actually initially heard about this because they had a little baby invitational tournament with the top Smash 4 players. Like Zero was there, and I think Nairo might have been there as well. Two of the top players in Smash 4, but they were playing this game, and it's very, very cartoony, and like it sort of has the whimsical style of Smash. Obviously when you're taking a look at the art, it's not Mario, it's not Pikachu. Like you can't really compete with that. Like
absolutely, yeah.
But I like the idea that instead of making it more serious, the art style is very like cartoony and fun. So like
it's very silly at the same time. Although I will say the characters move really fluidly. Like they don't seem too blocky, which is great.
Gorgeous. I'm very happy that they stuck with the style of movement, animation, and the fluidity of the gameplay is everything, because it's a platform fighter. If you can't move well, then it doesn't matter what else you put in the game. Like you can have the best other stuff, but if you can't move well, then you might as well forget about it. So it's still relatively, I wouldn't say early in development. They have the open beta that they started, and they're making a push to sort of like open it up, and I'm sure they'll add DLC characters. But I think it's just really cool how like different communities sort of like piggyback off each other. And that sort of moves me on to sort of what we were talking about last week. So if we take a look at two of the games that we are looking at here, specifically I'm looking at Moonlighter, and then I'm looking at Sundered. So what is the first thing you see on their tagline? Live on Kickstarter.
Yep.
Bringing it back to episode 1, Kickstarter funding. They're now on Kickstarter. That's their big push for funding.
Oh, yeah.
But what's really cool is I think the one that's really drawing to me is definitely Moonlighter. It looks like this sort of third person perspective, almost like I wouldn't say in terms of perspective like Rust really. It's still obviously in very early stages, but I really like the art style. It's sort of this like,
I'm looking at it now. Like, yeah, it's
like hand drawn, but not, and it's also sort of very realistic style. But sort of like the viewpoint of gameplay is almost like an old style drawing.
You know what it
almost
looks like? Like a better King's Quest looking thing, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that. Like graphically, and that's not a knock. Like King's Quest is awesome, you know, so it's great. But I definitely see that. Sundered to me, and I can't remember for the life of me what it reminds me of. But I love the art style. It's very, very good looking. It's very pretty. Sundered.
Yeah, for an indie, this looks really smooth.
Like,
I mean,
it looks like hand-drawn stuff. Like, it's...
Like, look at that first boss you're attacking here. That looks unbelievable.
Right?
Like, look at that laser. It's like something out of 2012. I'm a fire in my laser, bro.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Hit me with that. And like hopping forward a bit, look at this like underworld, like the woman like with the sky,
the
like
background. I mean, and this is a game that's purely, obviously it's a roguelike, and it looks really good, but it's also one of those things that, it's a certain type of game that plays purely on the backgrounds,
I'm gonna stop you here. Know what this animation reminds me of? It reminds me of that game. I'm trying to remember what it's called. The game where there's like 9 million death animations.
That's what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh my god. And it's a kid and he has a gun. Like, that's the art style it reminds me of.
I can't remember.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna look it up on Google, and we're gonna install kid dies in game, lots of animations. It's like Heartless or something.
Fuck. There's that one, and then there's also the arcade one, which was like, Dragons.
Yeah. Dragon's Quest.
Is it Dragon's Quest? It wasn't Dragon Quest. It was King's Quest? Not King's Quest. I don't fucking remember. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Oh, yeah, we totally do. As professionals, we will be able to draw upon these references.
It's going to be on the screen the whole time we're trying to name it. Like, I'm just going to put it up there, and I'm just going to, like, be making it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Like
this. For fuck's sake! Like, I can't remember. I can't even remember how I would search for it. Like, I just don't. Okay, I give up. I'm throwing it out. I'm not gonna spend the whole time on the Google. I said the Googles. That's how frustrated I am. Okay. I'm okay. Are you okay? We're not okay.
No, I'm not. I gotta figure out what the hell this thing is. I'm really not okay with it. I've gotta figure this out. Oh my god, it's like this kid. Oh my, I'm putting the weirdest things into Google. It was like PS1 game with many death animations. Because like the whole thing, okay, so the reason why I'm reminded of this is like looking at this animation. I mean, also this guy like has like these really weird looking glasses to his head.
Dragon's Lair! Dragon's Lair!
Well, that's one.
Fuck! No, just the one I was talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna make sure. I'm just. Yes. Okay. Jesus. Okay. Now go on with the one you were looking up, because now we're on this complete tangent. So what exactly are you looking up? Because that will help now.
So, I was looking up. Now I literally searched Dragon's Lair type games so that I could figure out.
Was it futuristic?
No. It's literally like he kind of has like a little blaster, but he's being attacked by these like dark shadows, and he's this kid. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It was the spiritual successor to, oh god, don't ask how I'm looking this up.
I actually want to know, because the Google Foo is probably strong with you.
Hang on, I will, if I find this game, successor, Another World. Was it Another World? No, it wasn't. It was made by the same guy who did Out of This World. Heart of Darkness?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, so this is how...
Hold on. How did you figure it out? That's
okay,
really
this is how I'm gonna tell you how to figure it out. So, I knew what you were talking about as soon as you said Blaster. I didn't remember that name of the game, but I knew the Game Grumps played it. And I knew it was because that it was the spiritual successor to the game that had the words My Karuba in it. And I went, My Karuba game, and it was Out of This World, and I typed in Out of This World spiritual successor, and it gave me Heart of Darkness. So
wow.
Hold
literally how I did this.
Is the mic picking up my clap?
Yes, it is.
That it's picking up the clap. Wow. A+, man. But yes,
that was a sidetrack and a half.
That 7-minute bit was to say Sunder kind of looks like Heart of Darkness.
Yes,
so
it does.
now that we've made that clear, let's talk about some of the big games that came out. So obviously, when you're going to like through and looking at indies, that's obviously really fun. But let's be real, you're also there to see some of the big names.
Oh yeah, like when I was there, I was super excited because one of the times I went there was right when Borderlands 2 was coming out, and it was when XCOM, the new XCOM game, not XCOM 2, just the first one, was coming out, and I actually got to see the first live demo they did, like of XCOM. Oh my god, it was like the coolest thing. But I'm looking here, like they like announced DLC for Final Fantasy 15. It's about Gladius, and let's see, the first Final Fantasy DLC. Oh, it's not that much fun. Never mind. Oh, apparently people think it's not that much fun. That's what people are saying.
Wait, which DLC?
Then Final Fantasy 15 story expansion are not off to a great start.
Well, I'm seeing that in the article, but I'm trying to figure out which one it was.
It's for Gladio. It's for Gladio.
Oh, yeah, I heard that was kind of lackluster. And it's like, I think it's less because of the story. I think that people aren't used to digesting Final Fantasy stories in that way. So I think there's going to be a learning curve there. Like, side stories don't really play themselves well to Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy needs to sort of that grand treatment. Yeah. And I think to, like, really effectively play off, like, because let's be real, like, the characters in Final Fantasy are broad. Like, even the best characters, super broad, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, like, you have your epics in old literature, like, they have very broad characters. But
just use Cloud, for example, the sad boy. Cloud's the sad boy, okay?
Squall the sad boy with a gun-shaped blade. But the best characters are usually your villains or side characters. I mean, like, Kate Sith, like, unbelievable character, because he's a fat cat in a world for no reason. He's just like, oh, sup, giant cat.
And then also, like, Red X, just talking dog. Just talking dog.
Talking dog.
Okay.
Barrett, gun wielder. And to move away from Final Fantasy VII, we have Kuja, the best villain. Oh, Kefka, not Kuja.
Oh, Kefka.
Kuja was Final Fantasy IX. Kefka, because he wins, actually. How? I don't know.
And then you have Titus in Final Fantasy X, just Mr. Positivity. Mr. Positivity. And then you have...
I didn't like about that game.
And then you have Waka, who's just... What?
Dude, Waka, literally, I want so bad on the internet. I've always wanted this for my entire life, was for somebody to make, like, a pun between Waka, like, throwing a blitzball, but it being, like, Waka Splash of Flame, and it would be, like, the logo for, like, his blitzball team, but it was, like, Waka Faka Flame, like, spinning blitzball. Like, I don't know. Like, this is coming from a lot of ibuprofen, beer, and doing this podcast. I'm getting a little loopy, but that's what I imagine.
And doing a 7-minute Google search for a game.
I can't believe I couldn't pull Heart of Darkness. That's such...
Oh, God.
We're losing our nerd cred slowly but surely, and it's only episode 2.
Oh, no. But they did, I will point out, before we keep going down this realm of naming all the Final Fantasy things, because we could go for days, they did show Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch, which...
Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, which is just, it's basically like a better version, it's a port, more or less, but it's a better version of it, that they're moving from the Wii U version to the Switch, which looks awesome. Honestly, they're saying it's the essential, and I mean the images that I'm getting, it looks good. I mean it's a Mario Kart. If you screw up Mario Kart, go to hell. Like, just right. It's really not that hard, so to speak. You can't really mess it up that bad. But
what's funny about this PAX is I think this sort of brings us into where we are in games right now. I mean, this March and this past period of time has been some of the biggest games just dropping out of nowhere. And So there's not a lot of huge reveals, I think, of this PAX because we've already had them. I mean,
no, we have a lot of cool indie games, but not a lot of huge reveals and stuff.
I mean, we had Nier Automata drop, we had Horizon Zero Dawn drop, we had Neo drop, we had For Honor drop, we had Breath of the Wild, we had Resident Evil 7, we had the new Ghost Recon game, which was awful. Like, literally, it's worse voice acting than Breath of the Wild, and I didn't mention this for Breath of the Wild. The Breath of the Wild English voice acting was a little rough. Zelda's voice, I'm like,
trust me, as a voice actor, I feel you, and there's a lot of times, like, because here's the thing, a lot of people cringe, but trust me, when I listen to it, I just have to go, okay, who gave you direction? Because this hurts. Because I heard it. I heard that the King's okay. King's alright. He's not bad. Zelda's
bad.
Zelda's
bad. Thank God they don't lose the link. They would literally be like the end of the internet if someone...
his effort noises are good though, which are just his grunts and stuff, which is fine.
That's good.
But Ghost Recon Wildlands was, oh my God, it was
awful.
Hysterical.
Awful. They use
hysterically bad.
Shout outs again. I think I'll shout them out every episode because I listen to them when I drive to work. Shout out to Giant Bomb in that fuckstick was like one of the most used adjectives in a very serious game about like terrorism in like Colombia. They're like, come on, fuckstick, let's shoot some terrorists. It's like, what?
Who thinks that's a good idea at all? Like, and that's, here's the funny part. That's not even a voice acting problem. That is a writing issue. That is somebody saying that's acceptable.
Whoever was doing voice direction / script effed up some fears. Because, well, I mean, but even in like the innocuous ones where it's like Tango Charlie Foxtrot, like you'll say that in every Recon game. It's like, it sounds like a guy
just going Tango Charlie Foxtrot, it's stupid stuff like that, rather than the Tango Charlie. It's just the Tango Charlie Foxtrot, like not this kind of voice, like it's deeper than this. Except I'm going more of a surfer dude right now. But the thing is with games like that, you hear fucking you just don't hear. And this is something I will just point out whenever I would go there. I've always noticed this. It's like, you can really tell the quality and how good a game's going to be with how confident the voice actors sound and what they're saying, and how competent and good the dialogue is. Because, oh my God, like some of the ones I listen to sometimes, they're terrible, and I've voiced some terrible things. So we're not.
No. You've never made a mistake in your entire life.
No, so I've never read a script and went, oh no. But hey, you're giving me money, so cool. The big announcements are a little light this year. It's not really full of stuff that we can really talk about as far as big announcements because we had so many goddamn things dropping.
Yeah, this has been a great month / 3-4 weeks for games. I mean, there are just too many games to play, and it's kind of unbelievable for this time of year. So,
let's talk. It's like, is PAX East something? Oh, you know what we need to talk about? Because we have it right here. The music at PAX, which I never got to talk about. So when I was at PAX, I got to see Paul and Storm, which is an amazing comedy band. I full-heartedly tell anybody listening right now that they should go and listen to Paul and Storm. They are amazing. They are hilariously just great at what they do. There is also, I saw Jonathan Colton, and I saw, what is his name? I saw the Mini Bosses, which was awesome. And there were like some other things like that, but you were talking about Bit Brigade, right?
I was, because even though I have not been to PAX, one of my most listened to live recordings is of Bit Brigade playing the Mega Man 2 soundtrack to a guy beating Mega Man 2 all the way through no death. And I cannot recommend this enough for anyone listening. Just go look on YouTube, look up Bit Brigade Mega Man 2. That's it. Or Mega Man 2 Live, like whatever. It's one of the first things that comes up. It is an unbelievable thing. And, it just brings us back to, the fandom. I mean, video game music has become a huge industry. I mean,
yeah.
When I sang classically professionally, I performed at a Distant Worlds concert, as a paid singer, which a life dream achieved. I got to meet Nobuo Uematsu. I mean, like, what the fuck?
Right.
But I mean, think about it. You had Distant Worlds. You have all of the stuff for The Legend of Zelda, like their orchestra tour, like doing all of their music. They did the same thing for God of War. They did the same thing for Halo. Video Games Live, like that's like.
Oh, I've been to Video Games Live.
Series.
It's pretty awesome. Like,
yes, it's a huge concert series. And just for those who don't know, Distant Worlds is specifically the music of Final Fantasy, performed in a classical setting. The same goes really for Video Games Live, as they do all the video game music live. There's a whole bunch of other performances, and I think it just speaks to how impactful these songs are on our cultural psyche. Also, it sounds really great when you hear old, I feel like NES and SNES soundtracks play so well in the metal format because of how much their bass lines had to move. So specifically like Mega Man 2 with like except like wow.
I want you to just, I want actually there at the end of this to be like a minute straight up. I'm just not going to talk, and I'm just going to let you do that, and that's going to be music plays.
Oh, I'll do Wily too. I'll do Wily too, like straight through. You think I won't, but I'll do Wily too. Like we'll play us out. Well, I'll do Wily too. We'll play us out with Wily.
Oh, absolutely. One of the bigger things. I mean, I love the music. I love everything, and especially the sense of community within it. We actually, when we went to Otakon the first time, we did cosplay. And that was fun. We did Bleach, which was just anime. Great. I love now that I know more about anime, I cringe at it, but at the same time, I'm okay with it.
Well, we were relatively well read. It's just that Bleach was new and actually like not bad at that point.
No,
I mean,
they were just at the Soul Society at that point, right?
No. They just finished up Soul Society because we still had we got through. This has been Colin and Chris's Anime Minute. No, they hadn't got to the Iran yet. They had just finished up Soul Society and were just starting the 2 years of filler.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous. So
the
anyway,
just went, but we are familiar. I've always appreciated cosplay. Some awesome, some I just go, okay, cool. I mean, I appreciate you coming, but okay. But there are some really cool ones. Like, I will say, PAX East, they have a lot of really cool ones, but the best, some of the best I saw were when we went to San Diego Comic-Con. I will say that. Like, some of them were just nuts. Like,
right around actors in LA who have a ton of resources, so you're gonna get some amazing cosplay.
I mean, I saw a full in-armor Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Like, just...
I saw fucking, Robert Downey Jr. look-alike in a full Iron Man, but with like the hat off. Like, you remember that guy? Like, he looked like exactly like Robert Downey Jr.
And the suit was kind of like articulated, like it was actually moving with him, and it was like, whoa, okay. But we actually have some pictures here. I'm just gonna, beforehand, just so we do this, I'm gonna bookmark this so for later, so I can share it with our lovely audience.
Awesome.
So what do we do? Are we gonna go through and name them, or are we gonna go through and comment on some of these? What do you think? What are we doing?
Here's my thought. So viewers at home, we're gonna link this in the description, and we're gonna try our best to figure out A, who are these people cosplaying? B, good or bad? We'll just be like, yay, nay, and C, why? Like, what led them to this point? We'll try to do as much of that as we can. We may eventually lose faith in humanity and stop, but we'll do our best to get through this cosplay link. So let's just get right to it. So I think the first one...
Gallery. Well, this one's obvious. We talked about this. Yeah. We saw this already.
Yeah. Email link, super popular, as well as looks to be boyfriend Tingle. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Very important. Everyone, if we can use the left mouse button to zoom in, we can see he has a Flava Flav watch.
I don't know why. Is there a reason why? Is he going in an homage to something that, I mean...
I wish I could tell you, Chris. The why eludes me. I don't know why here. Though I have to say, cosplay is half about the swag, and this girl is swagging it. She's like, yo,
I'm swagging it hard.
Yeah, I respect. Cool. All right,
we're moving on to number 2, right?
Yeah, what are we seeing here? I want to make sure we're seeing the same thing.
Which is the axe and the, what does it say? Ice? What? On the axe I'm talking about? Like, he's got beer on his head? Are we looking at the same picture here?
Oh, yeah. He's got, oh, wait, no, I think it's mine. I saw the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's like a Viking. It says Gratty Ice instead of Natty Ice.
What is this about? Is this League of Legends stuff, or is this...
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
I don't watch, I don't know what... Don't get me wrong, I think that whoever did the cosplay in the middle, that looks actually pretty damn good. You know? Yeah. She looks great.
That might be Reinhardt? No, I don't think so. No. I don't know.
And whoever's to the right is he's all I'm gonna say is he or she must be getting incredibly hot, because there's something everyone needs to know about conventions. It is always hot. There are too many people, and you will be sweaty. It
doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Yeah, you could be shirtless, you'd still get sweaty. But dude, I just feel sorry for whoever that is on the right there doing that. That's just not
okay.
Yeah.
Here's the why. Why is that chick there with those two dudes? Like she doesn't seem to mesh with the. Like, I know you don't have to have matching cosplays, but she just sort of like.
She put effort
really
into it.
Put like a lot of good work in there. I'm saying, girl, you need to get better cosplay homies because you really put the work in.
Or it could have been one of those things of like, let me take a picture with this really good cosplayer. Like she asked for the photo. I'm sorry, those two asked for the photo. I will say one of my bigger problems in cosplay conventions, and this is like a whole different topic for a different day. And also, I'm a dude, so I really don't feel qualified to talk about it.
Really? I wonder why.
Because there's the constant thing of, don't get me wrong, she is doing an amazing cosplay job here. And I'm not talking about the way she looks or anything. I think that she actually really put a lot of good effort. But she is a good-looking woman, okay? And what happens is, these guys go on as, I want a picture with a pretty girl dressed like the character that I like. And I'm like, I get it, but it always bothered me. It just bothered me. It's just something you see.
It's one of those things you can't win.
Oh, yeah, and
win. You're like, I get it, but maybe don't do that. But,
yeah. It's also one of those things of like, not her fault at all, okay? She's taking a picture and being nice. Not her fault at all. It's the two guys are being... I don't know the situation, but there are people that do this that is like, this is weird. Stop it. That's literally harassment. Stop. Just go away.
And welcome to Con Culture. Next picture.
Next picture. And next picture. We have Gas Mask. I think, who is that? We have Gas... Oh, he's definitely Roadhog.
Yeah, because with the belly and the fire stuff. This guy to the left.
Is he like a Genji outfit, maybe?
Yeah, this looks like Overwatch to me. That definitely looks like Genji.
Well, I mean, I can see the Overwatch. I'm still having trouble if that's his actual belly or if he put something there. I definitely think he put something there because it...
I don't know. It kind of looks like his... I don't know.
I don't know. But there's a color difference between his skin tone and his belly. That's if that is his belly, I'm like, you need to see a doctor. You need to see a doctor now.
Maybe he just has really tight pants.
Possibly. And, okay, you know what? I give the Roadhog, I'm like, okay, alright. You know what? You got the parts moving along. That's fine. I think you know, I don't expect perfection. In cosplay, I never do. But then there's...
he definitely did a very good job on a budget. Besides the gun, he really didn't put much... He didn't have to put much budget into any of this.
Exactly.
Like,
and the stomach tattoo, great. Yeah. But let's talk about on the left here. If I didn't have the Roadhog context, I wouldn't know what you are, and I'm still not sure if we're saying what you are correctly.
So,
you know?
No, we could be wrong. The most important thing about a cosplay is to be easily recognizable. You got to know what they are right away.
Yeah.
And even if you have low budget, like Chris and I were the masters of low budget cosplay, because what we would do is we would make sure that we were undeniable in what we were, but we were obscure enough so we wouldn't be the 9 millionth Naruto.
Yeah, I was
character. Like, we're gonna see some divas and some Widowmakers. I guarantee you in this list, and I haven't even looked through it yet.
So our first one was Zangetsu, right? You were Zangetsu, and I was White Komamura. He's the 8th captain? Is he 8? Or is he... I don't know.
Yeah, Bleach super side characters you wouldn't normally know, but easily recognizable.
I was Baskethead Man. Baskethead Man. Yeah.
I am an old man. Well, like an old man with big hair. But, you know, since this is a, you know, thing about PAX East and cosplay, I will say that they are probably there because they hate solo queue and Overwatch so much that they would do anything to find a partner, even if that meant cosplaying. So I'm just going to leave with that. It's on.
Moving on.
This guy's pretty straightforward.
Is this Cobra Commander, or where are we going here? Which
Cobra
one?
Commander. Yeah, this is the one I'm seeing. He's Cobra Commander.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, that's just a callback one. That's just like, hey, you're Cobra Commander. That's pretty sweet. I mean, you got the cape going on. You look good. I don't have anything else to comment there. That looks good.
Yeah. This is literally the most beautiful exemplification of a cosplay. Hey, it's Cobra Commander. Yeah, I love Cobra Commander. Great, man. Keep on shining on, you crazy diamond, and then you just move on.
Oh, no. And then he walks away from you, and he has to twirl his cape as he walks away. That has to happen, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Let's see, and this is...
McCree and Sora is what I'm seeing.
Oh, okay. As you're skipping, because there's one before at number 6, and I don't want to really...
Mine's skipping.
Yeah. We're gonna just skip over that. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna place it up in the top corner. Okay.
What's it look like? We'll play, you describe a cosplay to me and see if I can figure it out
yeah, let me... You know what? I'm gonna describe it to you and then send it to you.
Okay, cool.
So, this... it's the best I can describe. It's a furry.
Okay.
And it's like
I've seen those before.
Owl bearish thing? I mean, not bear claws. It's like, okay, multicolored. So we got like a blue mixed with like a lighter teal, and it's got hooves. Okay, it's just the owl head with hooves. And then I think 3 claws. Okay, you know what? I'm failing here.
I mean, that sounds like Hawlucha with Pokemon, but I know it's probably not.
Is it? Is it? No, it's not.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Oh, dear. No, I think this person is somebody I don't know. I don't know the context behind this, and that's okay.
I'm okay with it.
And next up is McCree and Sora. I just want to point out, the U.S. McCree with the U.S. gun. It's probably a costume, but even so, it's dope.
It's dope.
We'll put together. And the Sora is good too. It is tough to get that hair, and I gotta respect it.
That's like some Elmer's glue hairspray job right there.
Because that isn't a wig. You can tell that is not a wig. That is the actual hair. So
yeah, that's well played.
Wait, hold on. Shoes, even though that is dual wielding Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora, shoes still not big enough.
Doesn't he have like
still not big enough?
He has clown shoes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like just clown shoes.
Chris.
Yeah.
You need to keep to the accuracy of the character. We've talked about this. You need big shoes. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on. All right. Am I skipping again? I am seeing a gray, or rather brown witch girl.
You are skipping, but it's just, I will put it up. It is a Twi'lek. We'll move on from it. We don't really need to talk. I'm going to send it to you and ask if you want to talk about this.
Oh, dear.
I mean, it's just a Twi'lek. It's just somebody as a Twi'lek. Not bad.
I mean, yeah.
That's just a Twi'lek. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard not to say, oh, well, that's a Twi'lek because you got the thing.
I mean, I never know how to pull out those hair pieces. That's really difficult.
Yeah, it must really stick to your head, man. Like, just...
It's probably prosthetic. Well, who knows? I would assume, like, either... like low budget paper mache, high budget, like very, very light prosthetic.
I mean, this one really, I just said if you want to talk about it because it's just like, well, yeah, she's Twi'lek, you know. And then we have brown
I'm trying to figure out what this is from.
It looks. Oh, Mercy. It's the witch costume for Mercy.
Oh, it's the Halloween special for Mercy costume.
That's really good.
That's a really good cosplay. And it's the Halloween costume too. You know what's funny how I figured it out? She's actually doing the face. She's doing the spoon face. So claps, golf
and
claps.
Also, like I just point out the detail on the bag down at her waist there, just great. You know, just like that's that extra bit of detail that like is just like whoa. Okay, great.
That's what sells the cosplay is those little things right there.
So
all right, I'm pretty sure I'm missing one.
But we have Zelda.
Well, this is specifically not Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
This is Hilda from A Link Between Worlds because she has the reverse Triforce of low rules and purple hair. This is Hilda. So it's actually a very well done cosplay because you can tell actually not only does she have it in her scepter, she's got it in her little raiment down below on the dress, the reverse Triforce. So actually, really well done. Really nice attention to detail. Though I do notice the X-Men belt.
Yeah, I have a question there. I don't know what that is.
Somebody couldn't carry all of their swag and needed to put the X-Men belt. Okay. That's my guess. That's my why there.
There is one I'm going to send you because our McCree is back. But next to another Overwatch character that we've already seen cosplay, but his is real good. You'll see. Just put that one up there. So we have our McCree, and then we have him.
Oh, wow.
That is a great Roadhog. Like
that is a really Roadhog.
He's even got, if you look at his boots, he's got pointed boots.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, I know that the hook is smaller than it should be because he doesn't want to carry around a giant hook. That's just stupid.
Also, that's probably not allowed by the con rules. If you notice, a lot of sword-wielding characters will have their sword sheathed. They're really fake-looking paper mache swords because, obviously, you can't let people into the venue on swords. Anyway, I think we'll end on, I had a specific one that I just caught in glancing. So
Tell me the number.
I'm seeing a Sheik. I don't really care about that.
No. Let's see. Well, find me a number that you want to end on.
No, I remember because like I only here we go. Here we go.
What's the number? Does it underneath the image it has like 24 or 45?
19.
19. Let me go back.
19 is where I want to be.
Okay.
Yep.
Overwatch. Okay.
It's first of all, let me just state this is not a bad cosplay. This is a really good cosplay. Like straight up, whatever this person is going for, they did it well. I like the detail on the hair, specifically the helmet. I like the little circle and the arm. They obviously put time in there. But there's something about the juxtaposition between this guy's face and his little goatee.
Yes.
And this guy's costume that just makes me... Okay, look, this brings us back to gaming. I can't hate on this dude. He's doing what he loves. He wants to do it. But sometimes, like, I just want to, like, embrace my fellow gaming brethren. And I'm like, just look outside yourself for, like, a hot second and see, you know what? Maybe I could play within myself and, like, have a great time.
Well,
and, like, have as good a time as I'm having now while not looking like a weirdo. Because this guy looks like the Trekkie that you pull out of the Notebook. And I hate saying that because I love Trekkies that you could pull out of a Notebook. They're really good to have around during arguments.
And he could freely love being dressed that way, and that's totally cool. That is 100% cool if they want to do that. But this is also speaking to a specific type of, congoer you see sometimes like, I really am impressed with the level of cosplay you have, but I really wish you could see yourself right now.
Right.
I hope,
it's like I wish you would take that impressive level of cosplay and turn it into like a character that resembles you just a little bit. Because people are like, oh, but what characters resemble me? I look normal. It's like, no. But when you can pull off like the normal character, like, have you ever seen the Gordon Freemans that like aren't muscular, but they look perfect? And it's like there are so many different characters and like creative ways you can do it. But at the same point, you gotta give them an A for effort because this is a solid cosplay, but it's also just, it's just like, come on, man. Dude, we've come so far. We just found out we don't make people violent.
Yeah,
We're gonna eventually release a bunch of awesome games. Oh, anyway. I figure we'll at least end it on 19.
I think so. I think 19's a good place to end it. And I don't think we need to, go any more into it because we've gone through a lot of cosplays. But
this is also the growing pains. Eventually, we will have a solid segment at the end of the show. But until then, we are going to fuck around until we find what works.
Exactly, because that's what we do on this show. That's all it is. We just fuck around until we find something that works. Yeah.
Thanks, Yomi. Okay.
I don't know you shit!
That's fine. Are you ready? Hold on. Are you ready for Wiley 2?
Okay. Before.
Here we go. Let me check it out.
This has been the Name Not Found podcast. Christopher Millay is also with my cousin Colin. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all down below. And, follow us on Twitter. On the Twitter I probably told you during the break. And, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening.
All right, and enjoy this.